Yes, we're back for the Christmas special.
Yes.
We've only got fucking Greg Hemphill.
Oh wow, what a guest.
Amazing.
Scottish comedy legend, I would say.
An absolute hero, and I remember Wee Ford was on the last New Year special and he absolutely terrorised me.
Did he really?
Oh my word.
Ruined your Christmas, didn't he?
Was it 2 foot the tackles all the way?
The whole time, and he didn't let up.
Did he not?
But I don't know because I absolutely love Still Game, but I said that to him and I don't know if he thought I was maybe taking the piss out of me, but he's like
had him on
that.
toast.
Listen, stop me, man.
You can't have Ford on a football show. That's like asking a polar bear what its favourite beach is. Does he
polar bear,
does he know like football?
He doesn't know anything about football.
We thought he was at the wind-up, didn't we?
Because he said you never knew about the old firm and all that. We thought he was taking the piss maybe a wee bit.
He knows about the old firm.
Of course.
But he genuinely, I think he's been to about 4 or 5 games in his entire life.
You'll need to watch that because it was relentless.
Well, it went out an hour before New Year, didn't it? And then you just got a barrel load of messages.
God, everybody saying Wee Ford's just put your trousers down there. So I just met Benny, your boy there, and I was like to Benny, I promise you, I got up in the street and I said, Benny, please tell me your dad's not like Wee Ford. No, not against Wee Ford because he's a cracking guy, but I said, please say he's not like
He'll love you calling him Wee Ford, by the way.
Oh, he'll hate that, won't he? Is he like that? But see, on setting that can he be quite, hard to deal with, but on people and...
No, he's a pussycat. He's my brother, you know what I mean? Yeah, we love each other, man. It's funny, you work with somebody for 20 years.
He was brilliant, wasn't he, though? He was brilliant.
Yeah.
Aye.
But when you were a young boy, you used to have a good time in your bedroom over Isa. I told him about that.
Seems a crack of it, he always says that because I
broke his wrist watching Isa, didn't you?
He
broke his wrist.
No, I absolutely loved Still
No,
Game.
but you are a massive Still Game. I was a big Chewin The Fat fan.
Right.
Well, I think
You're a
I
massive
missed it.
Still Game.
I think I was... Chewin The Fat, I must have just been, missed.
Fat
I
was
remember it
genius,
was amazing, but Still Game was the one that changed everything. All your mates when we watched it was, even still to this day, say when you're out in the pub or you're with your mates, that people still use the lines for Still Game. It just took you at absolutely everything.
Have you got a favourite? What did you prefer then?
I think I preferred doing Still Game, actually, yeah. I think Chewin The Fat was great fun, and people always ask, are you ever going to bring it back, but you're like, I'm 53 and baldy now, you know what I mean? You're going to put a tracksuit on like you're robbing a telly or something.
Yeah.
There's a time in your life to do a sketch show. It's when you're young and, you have a million ideas and all that kind of stuff. Still Game was a bit more long form and that kind of thing, and those stories, and you took longer
You're
to
still
write
Chewin The Fat, big man. That's 20 years you've been doing it.
I was like I said earlier, I didn't watch a lot of Still Game, just kind of the highlight reels that float up every now and then. But Chewin The Fat, I was possibly, I liked Ford, the big man, and that.
The big man, yeah.
Ronald Villiers was the best character of all time.
He loved doing Ronald Villiers.
I like the guy, who's the Whistler guy? Who's the Whistler?
I think he knew somebody, Ford did the Whistler, he knew somebody that had that affliction with the teeth.
Aye.
And
I got a free whistle myself when I got these new teeth.
So you do?
I did, honestly, when I got these new teeth, every time I smoked.
There you go.
Have you been, mate? Any? You been good?
I've been absolutely brand new. Yeah, run into Christmas and all that. It's
and
nice.
there we go, Si. Unbelievable. The new
The best Scottish drink out just now. The best Scottish drink.
Second best. Wild Thing's the best.
Have you heard
I've heard all about this wild thing, actually. I was hoping to get a taste of it.
I've got up the house.
Are we going to get a wee
taste?
Yeah. You're going to have a wee taste of this right now?
Well, we'll try it, aye.
So
should we have a dram?
Talk us through the story you told us when you were sent over the testers.
Yeah, so we had, I don't know what, my pal Duncan sent me about the 10 or 15 of these little...
You don't like them, really, do you? Away from the whiskey, you don't really.
Associate, exactly, you know what I mean? These little taster bottles, so he sent a bunch of them through, and I was tasting them and making tasting notes and all that, and then I ended up completely pissed, and I lost my notes, and I woke up in the morning and I was like, well, there's one empty one, so that's the one we'll pick. Right. So that's what you're about to drink.
Go on, I
do like a wee whiskey.
Let's see. You'll need nails.
That's a bit poor, that side for you.
Well, I want to ask you, favourite Still Game episode?
My favourite was Cairds. I love Cairds when when they were watching it through the window, the high flats, and we're looking down to the other high flats and peeking in, because that happens, didn't it? That stuff, and it was...
What, you staring at other people's houses?
I do that quite often.
We all do it, don't we?
You always have a wee peek, didn't you?
There's a light on, you're getting a look at it.
But it's too hard just to pick one side, because some of the episodes were just... honestly out of this world. How you came up with that is genius.
Cairds was a fun episode to do. It was a hard episode to do because we filmed it all in the, I think it was, it's Jack or Victor's flat, I can't remember. And which is a set, and you're on that set for an entire week. It was quite a frat house Still Game. There was a lot of wind-ups, a lot of mischief. And so when you're on one set for a whole week, it was bedlam, you know what I mean? Because the whole episode basically takes place in that flat.
What was I know it's so hard, but did you have a favourite?
I did. My favourite episode was Drama, where they go to the distillery. We went to Glengoyne.
I've seen that one. I've seen that one.
Did you get actually steaming?
The very last scene at the bus stop, We were paralytic.
Oh, brilliant.
Paralytic because we've been drinking it all day. And then the director said, right, no more whiskey for these guys. Said to the props guy, we want a tray and I want tea in the little shot glasses. But the props guy was a bit a mischief maker as well. So he put little pink stickers on actual shots and said, here boys, see the ones that have got the stickers on? They're real whiskey. So we were picking out the real whiskies from all the tea.
Steaming.
We were absolutely steaming.
Oh,
and it was some of the best acting we ever did.
Was it no? Did you pull two birds there? Am I right in saying that?
There was
It's
two,
all
there was
dears,
two ladies were
And you said you
associated
actually
with.
got off of them in real life as well as being pissed.
We're not method actors. You get a slap if you
Remember the one, it was a cracker, and you've done it about, it was the one, remember, that's no Troy the Gardener, Bobby the Barman.
Bobby the Barman.
That was outstanding, but at Buchanan Street, he came up with bike scene, Bobby was in a porno.
Oh, was he?
It was brilliant.
I went up to Dundee United to do the draw. And I was like, I hope it's going to be like when I was Rod Stewart did it and get half cut, you know what I mean? But there was a boy there with a Troy the Gardener tattoo on his arse. So he pulled it down and I've got my face right next to his arse.
Amazing, man.
How's that your feed on, do you know that? It's my dad.
Was there a lot of football chat on set? Was there
A lot of football
Winston
chat,
and-
yeah. There was a lot of Celtic fans. There was a lot of, all the time. And sometimes when they got beat, a couple of the boys were a bit like, ooh, you know.
Andy's pals with Isa, isn't it? Am I right in saying that?
I knows Isa well, aye.
Andy Halliday knows Isa
He promised
well, aye.
Isa was going to come on the show, but she couldn't do it for whatever reason, wasn't it?
We've had a few on because Sanjeev done the hydro for us, didn't he? He done a VT with you for the hydro.
You should get Jane on, actually. You really should, because it'll be the easiest hour of your life. You'll want to have to speak.
I know, but I think she's done it himself watching it. I think my cast.
So I'm going to get the whiskey.
I've just tasted it. It's beautiful.
No, you didn't.
Didn't I taste it?
Right, Kev, you get a wee dram, then you come on.
Let's have a dram.
Let's get a dram.
Can we get
come on.
glasses?
There's a glass behind
Nobody's
that
Not
bar.
every day you get
Is anybody
a glass
driving?
of whiskey with it.
we're on
He
it.
can't drive.
I failed my test 5 times.
He's got a scooter.
You got a scooter?
We scooted that I go about and failed my test 5 times.
Fantastic.
Failed
What kind of
the test
scooter?
5 times.
Little
It was-
Vespa?
No, what's the one the boy sent, remember? Electro. It's just a wee with the wee one you go and you charge
It's only
up.
allowed.
Brilliant.
It's only one he's allowed on.
We've got Greg Hemphill on you. I talk about fucking scooters.
Sorry, but I could talk about still.
We're in the Barras, and there's a rumour that Stillgame was bootlegged here in the Barras before it was live on TV. Is that true?
It is true. It is true. Yeah.
Why did you choose here?
Well, what happened was there was a couple of things happened. The first, we did the pilot, and then there was a 9-month gap before we did the first series. So the thing was sitting in the Beeb for about 9 months in a drawer somewhere, and then suddenly somebody was like, "We got in a taxi for it," and the guy was like, "Seen your pilot? Fantastic, absolutely fantastic." I'm like, "How the fuck's he seen it? It's not out. It wasn't even broadcast." And he bought it down the Barras for like £5 on a little burn disc.
No way.
Yeah.
And
It's
then-
pretty cool,
So
actually.
why was it sitting for so long?
Well, they were just we had to make some changes to the pilot. There was a couple of things that needed fixed. And so we had to, and then some actors weren't available, so things had to get reshot. So that's pretty normal for a pilot, you know what I mean? For it to sit for a little while. But we kind of took it as, oh man, people really want to see this. This is great, you know?
So how did it end up from a pilot to ending up in the Barras? How did it get here?
That, I will
a
never
mystery.
know. No, I'd love to interview the guy that snuck it in there.
See, when you wrote Stillgame, did you know straight away we've got a massive hit here?
No, not particularly. I mean, the characters had existed for a while beforehand. We'd done them at the Edinburgh Festival, and the show had gone down really well. And then we did them in Chewin The Fat, and we were like, oh, we really like these characters. And the writing for them came pretty easy. So it seemed like a good fit just to kind of move on to those characters, you know, after. Because Chewin The Fat uses up so many ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a sketch show, you're like, by series 4, most people I know that have done sketch shows, Robert Florence or Limmy, they all say the same thing. It gets tough, you know, after about series 2, series 3, you're like, what are we going to do now, you know what I mean? So that was why we wanted to move on to a sitcom.
But what, see with the still game, it was in the older guys. Why? Because there was an unbelievable amount of amazing sketches in Tune of Fat. Why was that the one that you went, that's the one we're going to go for? Maybe.
Well, actually, the BBC had offered us 2 pilots.
I'm
And
not going to have any. I'm after drinking now.
And you will be, man.
I'm after drink.
Come on, you got a chance to
Are
have
you really?
a drink
See the
with...
stuff
He's so,
see stuff
it's just
like
an
that,
easy
I'm
one,
drinking.
Si.
Are you seriously off it?
I don't like you drinking now, honestly.
Right, boys, cheers.
So you wake
I never
up
know
like
when
that.
anybody's been serious here, you know what I mean? It's a riot.
No, I always try to stay off it, honestly, sometimes.
No, good for you, man. I'll drink yours.
You drink mine as
cheers.
well.
No,
Good
you
on
need to. Hey, one you drink
Aye,
with...
come on, Slaney. You're going to drink with Greg Hemphill. It's not how it happened.
Take a drink.
I get it doing you.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
That's gorgeous, by the way.
I thought it was quite
Gold
nice,
watch. It's a
Good
gold
bit.
watch. A good wee dram, isn't it?
That is nice.
Aye.
Do you know what I think it just would be nicer though? A wee touch of wild thing in it. Wouldn't it?
That would be
just
nice.
make that wee edge, wouldn't
I
it?
like it with a wee bit of... Do you like it with a wee bit of ginger ale? Slice of lime, ice?
I take it neat, but I know where you're coming from with the mixes.
Yeah.
I do.
The whiskies went unbelievable though, mate, innit?
It's been going great. Yeah, absolutely great.
Getting used touch is golden.
Can you touch in for us, please? Could you fucking having one?
Why did you not ask him to sell your wild thing for you?
I know your wild thing's doing really well. Similar. How's your sales? 15?
Flying by.
15
sales, flying. We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Get there, a mild thing.
Cut that.
Totally taking the piss of your brand. I'm sorry, man.
Sorry, but just back to you.
Pilots. We were talking about it. So we did a still game, wrote a script for the pilot, and then the BBC said, "What about Ronald Villiers?" And we were like, "Oh, Gallus." So we started writing that, and then Ford was like, "I'm not into this." And that, we were literally put it in a drawer, and it's probably still there to this day. We wrote about 17 pages, I think, and we jumped onto still game.
Why was he in it?
I don't know. He just wasn't feeling it. It can happen sometimes with comedy, you know. Like sometimes when we're writing a scene, halfway through, we'll be, that's not happening. You can feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like anything else. You just go, no, it's not. We're not there with it yet.
What about the inspiration for the characters? Is that everyday Glasgow life? People that you've met?
Yeah, it was family members actually, because Ford and I used to exchange stories about the old people in our lives. Everybody's got quality old people in their lives. You know what I mean? Ford's had a fella called Uncle Barney. I had my granddad Sammy, who I used to go and see him. He lived in Maryhill. He was an absolute scream. He was from Castledurg. Total riot. And I'd tell Ford stories about him, and he would tell me stories about Barney, and we were like, there's got to be something in this, because grandkids love grandkids love their grandparents so much, and they get to be a bit more mischievous than the parents, you know, because they're not the authority.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we just thought, let's write these up. Let's write them up, and that's what we did.
It's amazing. So see,
Winston was based on your dad, wasn't it?
Exact same guy.
He
And
is
that's
your
why
dad.
I think so many people loved it, because so many characters was like your mates or your family members.
Relatable.
Wasn't it? It was exactly like that. Now, Si, as you know, there was a famous picture going about doing the rounds on social media. Your wife, Juliet Ford, Karen Dunbar, Paul Riley and Mark Cox round the corner from here. Now we're going to show the picture, Si. Have you got the picture to show?
I'll get my glasses on.
I was just saying it right. I'm going to get this picture out.
Oh, look at the glasses. I
These-
like
these-
them.
I
But
love-
you know what? You've got amazing eyes. Has people told you that before?
Thanks very much, baby.
Oh my God, man. I actually could get... Have you seen his eyes, mate?
I know, I can't even look at them all the time.
Gorgeous.
These glasses, right? A gift to myself, right? I'm going to treat myself to a nice pair of glasses because I love Roy Scheider and Jaws, so I bought these.
Oh,
right?
so what is I?
And then Jules looked at me and she, you look like fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. I can't even wear them anymore.
That's two Jeffrey Dahmers on here.
You want a brewski? Have you got the picture?
I thought you had to say, I'll get it out there now, not a problem.
What are you getting it?
Can I get that?
picture
Wee thing
you
out,
sent
that's
me,
for
don't
sure.
we?
How
the
often
other
do you
ones.
have? How often do you have a wee drum?
Maybe once a week. Yeah, once a
Wow,
week.
look
But
at
once I start, I can't stop.
I'm going to
to
show
fill
the
my
cameras
whiskey.
first, because this is where we are right now.
No way.
Yeah.
And look at that. What a picture that is.
Fantastic. Yeah, I remember
How many
that.
years ago was that, Si?
God, that would have been 1997 or 96
40,
or
20
something.
years
She's
ago?
right on. Yeah, 20 years
20
ago. I wish you would tell us. I really do.
Honestly amazing.
So how did you all meet each other?
Well, I met, let's see now. So one of our producers, Rab Christie, I was in a comedy act with him, and Bruce Morton, who's a stand-up, lives on the south side. We used to go around his house and play PlayStation. PlayStation 1. Do you like the PlayStation? Sorry.
Who came up with that line?
I'm hitting out with my own patter, that's rotten.
I love that. Who came up with that line?
Ford and I, we came up with
So, sorry, just cut in here.
That's all right.
Was it you and Ford that wrote all the scripts?
We wrote the scripts and we wrote them phonetically as well. So the London commissioners couldn't understand them because it was like the like when the Bruins the little bit at the top.
Yeah.
Wanny is. It was written like Wanny is. It wasn't a one of you. You know what I mean? So we'd send them the scripts for approval and they'd be like, yeah, they're fine. We think. That's how it went down.
Honestly.
Oh wow, we used to just sit around. Well, what we used to do is sit around the house and talk. And then we'd jump up and go, let's get that down on paper. It was almost like we were transcribing the patter that we were hitting out with, you know what I mean? And we used to just sit and make ourselves laugh. That's kind of how it started, you know? That was the genesis.
So by doing that, usually making each other laugh, you could relate thinking the people would like this. Is that how, or did you think, you hope you would like it, or?
It was more, if we laugh at it, then other people hopefully will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll find like-minded people. As long as we find it funny. We tried never to write anything or put a scene in that we didn't find funny.
Yeah.
And sometimes you would, from getting it from paper to screen, you would lose a little bit in translation. Sometimes it didn't quite come out the way you wanted it to.
Yeah.
But most of the times, we were in good hands with Michael Hines. He directed Chewin The Fat, and he was our director for Still Game as well.
And was there a moment where you thought, right, everyone's got this, everyone loves it?
There was, it really happened with Chewin The Fat actually. It was series 2. Series 1 didn't go that well, and it went okay. I don't know if you remember, there was sections in Chewin The Fat, the first series, where we would sit on a sofa just talking, which is what we used to do on the radio show. And I noticed, I had my family up one time when they were watching the show, and then when those sections came on, they all started talking amongst themselves, and I was like, they don't like this. And Ford had found the same thing. So we went back to the BBC and said, let's take these sections out and make it an absolute sketch show. 33% more fat or something, we said. And the second series, the viewing figures went from 21% up to about 60%. And that's when we kind of knew, oh Christ, people are talking about this.
I mean, you recognised constantly.
Well, at first, it was nuts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was cool. It was great. We loved it.
You were really good. Remember the wee guy that says, ice cream van, what do you want, a spatch
I
here?
was a double winter.
Were you really?
The wee ginger guy, remember? Spatch here fanny, and it comes back on the last scene and it's on dripped over his hand.
That was funny. That sketch was like, we wrote that and we were like, oh, they'll never let us do this. They'll never let us do this. And we handed it in to Ewan Angus, who was our boss at the BBC at the time. And he was like, this is interesting. And we were like, it's all right, we'll take it out. And he went, no, I think we should do this because you want to have one sketch that people complain about, you know?
Yeah.
And I think they're going to complain about this.
Is there things that you've done that you look back and think that would never be allowed to broadcast now?
There are things that probably wouldn't go.
What ones?
I struggle to remember, but there was ones that probably haven't aged well. But I think that one actually would be fine because I think it was a story about power and about that woman putting those boys in their place because they shouldn't have said what they did. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
I think it was a good wee sketch.
Your mum's a dinner lady and that happens to her regularly, doesn't it?
She does it all the time, that honestly, she needs to wrap back there. Who were you closest to in set?
For still game, it was. We were just all.
Close.
We didn't have separate trailers or anything. We would all just sit.
Just in together?
We were down in Dumbarton and we all had a heater and we would all sit in a circle and just take the piss out of each other non-stop. It was brutal. And actually, I always felt bad for like supporting actors and co-stars that would come in and a guest episode. Like Robbie Coltrane came in one and he sat down and he was like, "You guys fucking talk to each other this all the time." We're like, "Aye, pull up a seat."
He was the bus driver, am I right?
Donut, go anywhere, you donut.
Yeah.
Lost it,
Oh, man.
You didn't know that line.
I knew that he was a bus driver.
We miss him badly.
I know, it's so sad.
What other guest stars have been really good?
Martin
We
Compton was on
had
it.
Martin Compton was in it. Celia Imrie was in it. She was great. We've had tons of them over the years. But I think it was always hard on them, to come in. I think to come into a moving. It's like jumping on a moving train. You know what I mean? It was like we all knew each other and we were like family. You know what I mean? Still.
I think they did struggle sometimes when they did come on and the way you were and the way you speak to each other. I think we're like, oof, what if I can make here?
You try to put them at their ease. We used to have a thing called Quizabago. So at lunchtime we would have a quiz, and we would always bring them in and just take the piss. And it was just they would take the piss out of the quizmaster, of each other. It was brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. We'd all get fucking pulled up now.
So would you act? Also would you also like direct other people's scenes?
No, Michael would always direct that.
Right.
We didn't take anything to do with the direction of the show.
But you wrote everything, you and Ford. Right, okay.
Yeah.
That's genius, isn't it?
So
remember, sorry,
but when you wrote everything, you're acting it out.
Yeah.
A lot of changing in that, or do you just kind of stick with what you think, or?
I'll give you an
Obviously,
example.
ideas will pop up all the time, like.
Yeah, no, that's a good. I can think of a really good example to answer that question. There was one time where Jack and Victor go to university and they just take the piss and don't study, and they're going for their medical proficiency. And then the very last scene of the episode, there's a girl in the Klansman at the quiz, and she has her baby. That was Kate Dickie, and so Jack and Victor come down like that, and then we're just looking at their faces, and then they go. I can see the heat of the baby, and they just faint. Right? Do you remember that? Remember that? They boom like that. And as we did that, Paul Riley was stood there, and he went, "Do you think it'd be really funny if you guys faint, and then I see the baby's heat, and then I faint?" And we were like, "You fucking rat! You stole the punchline off us. That'd be really funny." So we rehearsed it. Me and fucking Ford fell like that, and Paul Riley fell. And guess who's at the bar? Gavin Mitchell. And Gavin goes, "I think it'd be really funny if fucking Paul falls." And then he said, "You fucking bastard." And that's how that came about. So we were like, "You bastard, you fucking hoovered the gag off us."
Bobby, he's not done the ending, and
So he got the ending.
Oh, brilliant.
remember the episode you went out to Canada?
Yeah.
Did you deal with all that? Because obviously
I put on a stone. I was there for about a week. I put on fucking 14 pounds. Because they have what this thing called craft services. So you just have hot food all the time.
Could you next time you're going, give a shout? I'm up for that.
No, you're into your football, mate, aren't you?
I like my football, aye. Do you guys like the football?
What did you make of Canada in the World Cup?
I
thought they were good, but he's not having them. I thought they were excellent.
You're not having it at all, eh?
Mate,
No? Tactically naive?
You thought that, didn't you? But I thought maybe, as I've been saying, some of the football I've watched has been dead boring. But do you know what? Canada went and had a go at it. I know that doesn't go, but I thought they were outstanding to watch.
I think they got underestimated a little bit because they won their group. They beat Mexico, they beat the US, qualified first. And then something just happened. I think it was a bit like some of those Celtic Champions League games where they're like getting 9 and 10 chances and not getting any goals. Then the opposition would run out the park and score. Do you know that edge that they were missing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened to Canada. I think when they went 1-0 up, in the second game against Croatia. They should have changed their format, and they didn't.
4-1
And then Croatia just ran through them for the rest of the game.
So are you a Canadian fan or are you a Scotland fan?
Oh, fuck me, that's a tough one.
So if it was a World Cup and they're playing in the
Scotland
final,
are never going to
they're in the final. They're in the
Let's say it was an
final.
international friendly. Who would you want to win?
This is a really easy hypothetical one because you first of all, you've got to imagine fucking Canada and Scotland in a World Cup. Let's all try and imagine it, boys. I would probably cheer for Scotland.
You moved to Canada, obviously, in your younger years and then came back to Scotland.
That's right, yeah.
I take it you spent more time in Scotland, would that be right? Or?
Yes, yeah. I've got a brother in Cornwall and I've got a brother in Vancouver.
So how long have you split the time between...
I've been here since 1986.
86,
Yeah,
right? So 26
yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Is that
Long,
even
long
no,
time.
26 more
I think
than
it's
that?
more than that.
36.
36, yeah. So I mean, my family's here. I came from Glasgow originally. So when I came back to Glasgow, I had aunts and uncles and grandparents and all that. I'd go and get my Sunday dinner. I was well looked after. I'd never lived in Glasgow, but I felt as if I had. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like,
What have you ever had any famous football players send their fans to the show?
What a question.
yeah.
That's not even on the sheet. I've just came up with myself.
Thanks, mate.
He's a great guy, isn't he?
That was fucking lovely.
He's
What a
good at
question,
what he
thanks, mate. Oh God. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, there's a few of the boys have over the years of. That's the thing. It's been going for a long time. You know what I mean? So you've seen generations of football players. You know what I mean?
Have you ever got friendly with any of them?
Yeah, they're hard to get friendly with because
Yeah,
you know
they're
they have their world and stuff. You know what I mean? It's kind of. It must be difficult to let people into that.
Actually, it was a bad question. Now, think.
He's not going to give us a name here, is he? Are you giving us a name now?
Of famous football? My God, do you know, my mind's gone fucking blank.
Bad question. You should never have asked it.
Do you know what? Give me a couple of minutes and I'll fucking shout it out. I'll
Right,
just shout it out.
I remember playing in England.
Scott Brown!
There you go.
Sorry, it's brilliant. I remember playing in England and we would switch on like the New Year special of, was it Chewin The Fat would be on a New Year special?
Aye.
And the English players used to think, oh, this is great, we watch this every year, and I couldn't understand, how do you
How do they get it?
how do you get this? Because we get it because we're from Scotland, it's Scottish patter, whereas English boys, but I think that audience you had, it was just that funny that you had to get it, if that makes sense.
But
Yeah,
still game part would be used within football clubs as well. I don't know if you
Aye.
knew that.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
What was one do we choose?
Can't remember. Just remember boys using it. Midge
Aye, I remember that.
I done it.
Good question, mate.
Great question, man. But see, I phoned you this morning. I mean, I couldn't believe this. You were the first host of Off the Ball, is that right?
That's right, in 1994.
So
I
how
think
did
it was.
that come about?
I'd just come back from the World Cup. I went to, as a fan, I went to
USA.
1994 and I was in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl and I saw all the games there, Jack Charlton and all that. Fantastic. Roy Keane played in that one, didn't he?
94,
Yeah, he did.
94, yeah.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And there was empty bags of water all over the pitch because it was fucking so hot. It was like 32 degrees or something like that. Came back from there and my pal Alan de Paulette was a producer and he was starting up Off the Ball and he said, do you want to present it? I was like, yeah, sure. But after about a year, I was like, I'm fucking useless at this. Tam Cowan was running rings around me, you know what I mean? I didn't really feel as if it was my vocation. And I got an offer to do Only an Excuse with Johnny Watson. Tony Roper had just left.
Right.
So myself and Lewis McLeod, the Mimic, we sort of stepped in and played supporting roles for Johnny. And I fucking loved it. We went to the pavilion, it was sold out. When they laughed in the pavilion, you could feel the heat on your face. You actually physically felt it. I was like, this is fucking great. So that compared to a radio studio where you're talking about fucking Burnt Island and all that.
Aye.
You know what I mean? It wasn't really for me.
So was it you that decided to leave Off the Ball?
I left after a year and then Stuart came in and the two of them they took it to the next level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's been going for over.
Did you feel uncomfortable doing it? Or just no?
It wasn't that I felt uncomfortable. I just thought there's got to be somebody. It's weird. In my life, I've been for auditions and gone, you know who you need to see for this part? You need to get this. My agent's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're supposed to go. And it was a bit like that. I says, you can get somebody better than me for this. And they got Stuart.
I think I'd rather
You say
go
that about
to-
me every week, didn't you? On this show?
Have you guys been on Off the Ball?
I would think I'd rather be on Off the Ball if you were presenting rather than Tam and Stuart.
It's hard to get
Sometimes
award
it
He's really
like
pissed
love,
at you.
Tam's amazing,
Yeah.
and Stuart's obviously of a different intellect to
Aye,
me.
a clever guy.
And you're a clever guy, and sometimes some of the stuff he chats is like just goes away over your head, and you're like, aye, okay, Stuart, you're just like nodding dog.
Yeah.
But
Aye.
nah, the Off the Ball. You've been on Off the Ball.
I've been off the ball
I've been on a couple of
times.
times.
The
Did you like
You've
it?
been invited, mate.
I enjoy it. I enjoy going off the ball.
The right back fake, it's just signed for Celtic.
That's right.
Anthony Johnson.
Johnson.
Is it Alistair
He gives
Johnson?
a bit
Is that his name?
Have you got any insight on
Well,
him?
he comes to the team that you support, Montreal Impact.
Yeah, I just saw that great photo of him and Juranovic going for the ball. I thought, there he goes, look, one's going out and one's coming in. So he's off and Yakimakis is off, I hear.
Oh, is he?
Well,
Breaking
he's
news.
angling for a...
He's angling for a move.
I think that's a shame.
I know, I would agree with that.
Do you have a season ticket at Celtic?
No, I had a season ticket. I used to go with Paul Riley actually about 20 years ago. I don't even know if Paul still has his actually. It was impractical to you can't get along every week. You know what I mean? It was kind of, and you feel like a fucking what do you call it? Sunny day fan when you're going like 3 times a year. You know.
Yeah.
But great days.
What team was that? What era would that have been you were watching?
It would have been Martin O'Neill's era.
What a time. He was a young
I
boy
done
then at
interviewed him last
Celtic.
week.
Did you really?
Great times on it, that team.
Oh my
At
God,
Celtic,
yeah. When they won the treble, we ended up out on the piss, and we ended up with partying with them, with the team.
That's the story I wanted when you asked him to do a fucking football player.
Martin O'Neill! Neil Lennon!
Ask it again, go on again.
Have you ever hung about the football club? So the treble, so how did that, so you were at the game and were you invited into the dressing room?
No, we weren't at the game, and then we went on the lash, and then somebody said, "Oh, the Celtic team are down at this thing. Let's go and gate crash it." And we went down, and they let us in. There must have been about 20 of us, and we had a great time. And Ramon Vega was
Yeah.
the whole team.
He's a billionaire.
He's got too much to say for himself these days.
I remember this. Henrik Larsson was gifted a golf club, right? And I can't remember who gave it to him, but everybody was pissed. And he took the golf club out of this thing and he hit Paul Riley on the head with it. And Paul Riley was like, I'm never going to fucking wash that again. And Henrik Larsson's going to Paul Riley, I'm really sorry. And he's going, it's all right, big man, it's all right. It was fucking great.
And did Martin O'Neill, did he say anything about the programme?
I think,
watched
I couldn't tell you if
Let's
he did
just
or
say
not.
you watched it, just make it.
Yeah, you loved it.
Did you go to Seville?
I did.
Did
I
you?
went to
Wow.
Seville, yeah, I went to Seville.
You are a fucking fair weather fan, by the way. How did you get to Seville?
I don't remember, but I was at Boa Vista for the semi-final as well,
right, yeah.
and I was absolutely steaming. And I remember when Henrik Larsson scored the goal, I had one hand over an eye because I was seeing double, so I was like that watching the goal. And then we flew home and got tickets for the game for the final and went. And my brother was there; he came over from Vancouver. It was a family affair, you know what I mean? It was good. There was a lot of people there. 80,000 people there.
Who did you go to
Were you
Boa
guys
Vista
too
with?
young to go? Was that?
My family went, I didn't go. I
You were
wasn't
too young,
allowed. But that was the one the Celtic fans were putting the tickets to the beach boys and smacking them off, remember, for the fans?
That's right.
To get them in, aye.
Who did you go to Boa Vista with?
Say something.
Pals.
He only said Boa Vista so he could justify getting a ticket for the final.
I went with Paul. I went with Paul Riley.
So is he a massive Celtic fan? That's Winston, obviously.
Winston. Yeah, I mean, I don't see Paul that. It's weird. We don't all hang out. So I haven't seen him for a little while, a couple of years. But I imagine he still is. I think, yeah, you'd pry his season ticket from his
Because you've been using Boa Vista, you're obviously on the telly. A Celtic fan's hounding you when you're across there.
No, it's great. I mean, you know what it's like. It's like after 2 minutes, you're just chatting away.
Yeah.
You know?
I've got a bombshell question.
Go for it.
Oh, fuck.
Do you watch still game?
No, not particularly. You used to have to watch it because we were producers on it, and so you had to watch it and stuff so that you know everybody had to sign off on it and stuff. Oh, that scene needs to cut to this, cut to that, and you'd do all that and give them notes. But after that, when it went out on the TV, I was kind of done with it by that point.
Oh, were you?
Well, it's a long gestation period from like you write the script, then 3 months later you do a second draft, then you film it. That takes about 6 weeks, and then it's about 3 months cutting it together and showing it to the audience, and then another 2 or 3 months before it's on the telly. By which time it's like canned tuna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas when you do the hydro, as you guys know, that's like fresh fruit.
Yeah.
But I'm not being rude here, but I've just remembered this. Oh my, I can't believe he was on the show and we've not even spoke about this. So I'm a manager of a team now, we've taken over a
brilliant.
team.
Fantastic.
He's my first team coach as assistant manager here.
Okay.
That is them. What does that remind you?
The sketch we did. Yeah.
It's the exact same, innit?
That looks like me in the audience on my phone. Look. Fucking
Exactly, show that to the camera.
I just remembered it when he was, because it was on there about the assistant manager.
But that's another one against that.
That's legendary, isn't it, that sketch?
That happens so many times, you know what I mean? And so many people relate it to
But obviously
that
they
sketch.
did it, and you and Dale just said to yourself, why don't we act like the two in still game?
Be better off.
That is fucking brilliant.
And how are
isn't
you
it?
enjoying coaching?
I enjoy it. I think he's the manager. He's out of this world, so still learning a lot. Still obviously learning a lot. I think it's hard because when I go into a changing room, I quite love having a laugh with the boys.
Right.
And then something you think, I'm a coach. I'm meant to be learning them and helping them with football. And then I went
He's
up.
doing himself a disservice.
No. So what happened was we went up a away trip with the Scottish.
That was that one. That was
was
that
that game actually. So on the way back, we got a great win. So all the boys had a drink on the way back. So I had a few drinks, and by the end of the trip, I'm getting stuffed up the bus, bollock naked, and I just slapped my arse. And then I thought, what first team coach would ever do that. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? So
You baby.
So exactly.
Yeah.
So
You're not like other first team coaches.
no, well, certainly no. So just I think for that side of things, I probably just need to be a wee bit better that way. But slap me off.
Wait a minute, just stand there a minute. Oh my God,
But
man.
it can be a frustrating thing when you're an ex-player, though, because you'll always be a player. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. And I remember speaking to Alec McLeish about this, and I said, he was a manager of Motherwell at the time, and I said, is it hard, when you're a player? He said, it is hard because you're wanting the guy to kick it at that moment because that's what you would do.
Yep.
And that, because you're still programmed that way.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing exactly what you would do in that time,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Did you play, Greg?
I played, but not to any level. You know what I mean?
Were you good?
No, I was
bad.
all right.
So what age did you leave?
you can
Was
tell.
it Springburn? Was it Springburn you were from?
Springburn, yeah.
So what
yeah.
age did you leave to go to Canada at Springburn?
I think I was about 3 or 4 or
Oh,
something.
so you never really played kids football at school level?
No, we arrived in Canada the year before the Olympics, 1975.
Right. And then would you go straight into ice hockey or?
Yeah,
My younger brother got into ice hockey, but there was a huge, at the time, there was a really big European network of, like Hungarians who all found football on the West Island in Montreal.
Right.
Great coaches, great ex-players, a really good community. And we sort of fell into that, But back in those days, football wasn't what it is in North America now, you know what I mean? I remember even for the World Cup in 1994, the commentators were like, nobody's going to come to this.
Yep.
It was fucking...
It was heaving.
It was absolutely heaving.
It was an absolute spectacle,
Are
wasn't
you
it?
going to go to the next one, 2020?
That's Canada, USA, and
Mexico.
Can we stay at your
Stay at
family?
my brother's gaff, aye.
Oh, that'd be brilliant, man.
So I wonder how they're going to
He's
work
got
that,
eyes
though.
like you. I'll end up jumping in bed on.
He flies. He's got a little Cessna plane. He's always loved flying, and years ago he took his pilot's license.
Wow.
And he flies to his work. He lives in Vancouver Island, and he flies to his work on Vancouver in the mainland, which is where the games are. So he said, Greg, you can come over and we'll fly. I says, fucking no, I'm not flying with you. My brother, man. We used to watch
Okay.
fucking Friends and Cheers together. I'm not getting in a plane with him.
We could do a podcast for the plane.
That'd be unreal.
For the pilots, deck. What's it called?
Steve
Cockpit.
he ended up in Stillgame, my older brother. He was the lift operator in the CN Tower in the episode in Canada.
All right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. He came in and we stood behind the camera and took the piss out of him, made him fluff up his lines. It was great. Michael, our director, was like, you need to leave him alone. He's not an actor. Like, fuck him. It's my brother.
So see on that sketch, obviously you've said Ford wasn't interested in football. So where did you get the inspiration for the assistant manager? Was it a coach or a manager you had as a
Honest
kid,
to
or-
God, I couldn't even tell you. I don't even know if we wrote that joke. We had such a great team of writers. The first series, Ford and I wrote most of it. And then we had like Noddy, who directs, Gary Tank Commander and the Scots, and Burniston and all that. He wrote for it. Rab Christie wrote for it. And then by series 2, 3, and 4, we wrote a lot less. And we had, Robert Florence and Ian Connell. They got started on Chewin The Fat. They wrote The Big Man, for
The Big
Ford.
Man was good, wasn't it?
And so we had at the first it was like we had to do it all. But by series 2, 3, 4, stuff was coming in because the show had been on TV. People knew how to write specific characters for what we were looking for. And it was great. And so I couldn't tell you who wrote that joke as well.
See what you're saying about your brother as well, where you were kind of heckling him while he was doing his scene. Was there a particular scene in like Chewin The Fat or Still Game where you just burst out laughing every time he's done it?
Oh my God, Mark Cox was the worst corpser. They call it corpsing when you kind of get through. Like he had such bizarre turns of phrases. Like he'd say something just a little bit different, or sometimes he'd get 2 words around the wrong way. And then you couldn't keep it together. And because we couldn't keep it together, he couldn't keep it together. And Mike would be like, for fuck's sake, guys, come on. It's been like 40 minutes here, we fucking filmed nothing. It's
not
We're like,
the best,
oh, it's the best, isn't it? It's a lovely feeling, isn't
The
it?
best feeling in the world.
Mark Cox is a tight guy, isn't he?
He's the tight guy. He's Tam.
Tam, that's right.
He's a hero, Tam.
Yeah.
Aye, he's
That I think is my favourite, by the way.
oh man, he's a very funny boy. No, we're nobody's favourite. So people go, I love Naveed, I love Isa. You fucking do you, right?
Well, Si, 20-year anniversary, unbelievable. Do you look back and just think it's incredible what we've actually done?
I certainly look back with pride. I mean, it's you don't know how many of these opportunities you're going to get in your lifetime, and I think that was when people shout the character's name to you in the street. Some days you're not feeling it. Other days you're like, man, that's so cool.
You get that call, didn't you?
No,
You get that, didn't you?
Off.
Some days you walk down that street and they shout, Slaney, you're like, what's happening? And all days he's like,
I don't know. I'm no good with that.
Are you not? No, I have to say,
with my mind. It's no there. People are amazing, but it's just been me. Sometimes I
do you feel guilty like sometimes when you're walking down the street and whatever's happening, say away from just normal life reality, if you've got something in your head, somebody shouted, Greg, or whatever, and repeated a sketch of some sort and you're like, you just fucking shut up,
Honestly, the honest answer to that is no, because if nobody was watching it, you wouldn't get that at all. Yeah. So it is a really big compliment. And there's something really cool that happens because it feels like a very Scottish thing. You'll be abroad and you're just walking about, having a good time. And then suddenly you'll see this kind of wee pale face, just a face you've never seen before, going like that. Fucking yes, man. And you're like, all right, brother, how you doing? And you go straight up and it's like a secret club. Do you know what I mean? And that's happened to me at the top of the Eiffel Tower. It's happened to me at places like that. Somebody going, all right, man, how you doing?
That's like, brilliant, isn't it?
That's magic.
It's pretty cool.
Are you touring the now?
We're doing a sign-in on Thursday at the Dirty Duchess.
Oh, what a pub.
What a great pub.
We're doing a signing in Inverness, and I think, where's the other signing? Is it it's not Elgin, is it? Balloch.
So see when you
close to Elgin, Balloch.
Do you do a wee show when you get there, a wee speak? Fuck knows what I was talking about.
Fucking wig on and all that.
You sketch.
Is it just like a signing or?
It's just a signing. Yeah.
Now you're going to kill me here, right? But I would, and I know it's been and you have done so much work, but I think New Year's Hogmanay is rubbish. I don't enjoy the TV. And it's no disrespect to them, but would you ever come back and do a spin-off show for Hogmanay?
I'm doing a show this New Year, and I did one last year, so thanks a fucking lot.
I thought it was brilliant, I must have missed that, man.
It's fucking pushing you into it. Any plans to bring it back? Beautiful.
I didn't see that one. You were in it.
You wouldn't.
It was Channel 4 I was watching.
You didn't have your glasses on, did you know?
We did a show last year called Queen of the New Year, and it's a sketch show. And we did it. And it was really good fun. We've got a great cast this year, and it's nice to kind of encourage younger performers and give them a chance to do their thing.
Well, John Higgins' son, he's into that acting, and Pierce he's trying to get into he's doing his stand-up, isn't he?
Yeah.
So as you said, it's great to give guys like that an opportunity.
Have you done stand-up?
I did it once.
Is it brutal?
I was not very good at it. I was like, you see Kevin Bridges and stuff, and when he was on at the Hydro, and the way he works, they work so smart and so clinical. They'll work through clubs. They treat the club like a gym, and then for a year they'll be in the club honing material. And by the time they get to the Hydro, he knows it works. You know what I mean? And I think that's where that kind of professionalism was completely lacking. I was like, I'm going to be a stand-up now, and I wrote 20 minutes, which you don't do. You write 2 minutes, try it out, through it. I wrote 20 minutes, and I was like, hey everybody, and I was like, fuck, I'm dying on my arse.
Was it terrible?
It was pretty brutal. Yeah, it was absolutely fucking brutal. And then the last 5 minutes, I had this routine about Elvis, and it got big laughs. So that was enough for me to go, I should try it again. But I'd lost my nerve by that point. What I should have done was done 3 minutes and gone out and done that.
What is it you did for 3 minutes?
Oh, you can't beat one. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to go there.
So you said about nerves for stand-up. Is it a different nerves when there's a team way at the Hydro?
It is. It really is. And I think the reason is because they're not there to see me or Ford. They're there to see Jack and Victor and Isa. And you're that suit that you wear, the hat and the mustache, is like a suit of armour. Right. So you can walk out in front of 10,000 people and you're like, this is cool. I've got my suit on. I'm good. Whereas a stand-up, it's just a microphone and them. And a spotlight, you know what I mean? And it's them, it's not a character, you know what I mean? I think I'm full of admiration for anybody that can do stand-up well. Yeah. Kevin and Frankie and people like that.
They're good.
How many shows did you do at the Hydro?
You took the piss, didn't you? Let's be honest.
We did a wee bit, aye. Well, we did 21 shows the first time, and then we did 15, and then we did another 15. The year we did the first one, though, Monty Python were on in London in the summer, and they did 10 shows. And we were like, we fucking done more than Monty Python. What did you guys think when you did the Hydro? How was it?
Excellent. It was amazing. I get slaughtered 2 shows in a row. Brilliant for me. But what an experience. Do you think that's where, well, the boys weren't for there, but I'm 2 minutes for there. Grew up there, and then to be performing there. And it is, we found, I think if you're, as you said, going up as maybe as a stand-up comedian at yourself, but us going up together, when you're up there, the nerves just completely goes, doesn't it?
The minute before you go, it's horrendous on it.
It's the worst feeling, that anticipation. Anticipation, and when you go out, obviously you've done it up the steps, out you go, and you don't actually see anybody because the lights are absolutely...
Yeah.
And then you're like, the closer you're like, oh God, look at the height of this bloody place.
You almost get vertigo, don't you? You actually feel
and you think to yourself, how were you able to walk out into a football stadium with 40, 50,000 people in broad daylight, but you can't walk out in a dark room with 12, 13,000. It was a strange feeling. Just a different, because football's our comfort zone.
Yeah.
With your comfort zone acting and putting on a show, whereas we were just 4 guys at a time doing a podcast, going out to 12,000 people and trying to entertain them.
But think about that. You'd started out doing a podcast and then you're filling the hydro.
It's a wee bit like,
amazing.
actually, thinking about it,
incredible.
I'm not nowhere near on the same level as you guys, but a wee bit like, similar to the Still Game type of thing, innit? They captured the crowd, the audience. Listen, I shouldn't even put it in the same settings,
Well, you
but
just heard
My
that.
boy came to see that.
we should try 15 shows, shouldn't we, now?
Do you have a wee drink before you go it?
No, I'll tell you what we used to do. Somebody found this thing. It was called liquid testosterone, right? It was like a little tube. Looked like fucking lube or something. It looked a bit fucking suspect. Said on it,
Seems
liquid
like plastic on his
testosterone.
ass.
And bodybuilders would put it on their body before they would do a session.
Right.
In a way. So me and Ford were like, fucking get that. Put it on our chest, rub it in. You're like, fucking yeah, man. Let's go. It was wild.
Must be a reverse
Liquid
effect.
Two years
testosterone.
in a dressing room doing that.
Oh yeah.
I like to see that.
Right, well, listen, we're very close, man.
By the way, when we found the biggest shite ever in a toilet pan, he had hydro, didn't he? Remember the one he laid out?
A big
The
Guinness
toilet
one.
pan?
Aye, Kev
A
done
big
that.
Guinness, he done it
Yeah,
out the
he
hydro.
did.
Did I leave a big
Oh,
one?
mate, he left a big
I had
Guinness
to go for
right
a
there.
shower after it.
What was a shocker, wasn't it?
What about after the show? If you surely have a wee couple of beers or a couple of whiskey.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We used to go downstairs and we'd have guests and stuff. People would come and see you, and you'd sit and just kind of I mean, if you did 2 or 3 shows at the Hydro, after you're always nervous, but it's easier each time. You know what I mean? So after a while, it's like it's a theatre show. You know, that's what.
How was your social side when you were in Chewin The Fat and Still Game amongst the cast?
Oh, we used to go on the piss all the time. We used to go out and we went places, went to Amsterdam together. We'd hang out, and then you've done that. You know what I mean? And so you raise a family or whatever. You settle down, chill out a little bit.
Who was the best on a night out? Sorry, just.
God, who was the wildest? Fucking Ford.
Did you have a
Ford,
favourite?
is it?
Yeah.
Did you have a favourite
You know what,
haunt in Glasgow?
Did I what?
Did you have like a favourite
Place to
go.
We used to go to the Lismore down in Partick. Used to do a Partick pub crawl.
Decent
where
pub
else?
crawl, that.
Oranmore used to pop in there.
Aye.
West End wankers, you know what I mean?
I was going to say.
Because I remember Ford was singing about the View. and
judge
that.
Aye.
Remember that? Ford was singing about the View for a while, wasn't he?
Was he?
The band.
Oh, yeah, I think he does. He knows Kyle, doesn't he?
Them a couple of, Kyle, that's right. Him and Kyle were pally for a while. I remember that.
Up in Dundee, aye.
Was it
That's
no?
cool.
Was it? See, with the amount of hydro shows and the amount, did it become a hell of a lot though for you?
No, when you're in the middle of it, it's kind of like you sort of forget to appreciate it. It can be like, right, we need to get this and make sure it's good and make sure it's entertaining. And then you spat out the other end of it and you're like, oh, it's over. You know what I mean?
See, on that, we obviously had to rehearse our production beforehand. Did you have to rehearse each production that you did, even though you were repeating it
Yeah.
every night? Did you still do a production beforehand?
Yeah.
Just to make sure it all went swimmingly
You
well?
had 5 weeks. So we would come in, whenever the Hydro was, you'd come in 5 weeks before that, rehearse every single scene the whole time until it's running like a Swiss watch.
Even though you knew it in your head and as if it was like second nature, like jumping into a car, turning the engine on and away you go, you still did that every day just to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So sort of on his question of being hard work, that's what I'm trying to relate to. Like, did you just some nights turn up at 5 o'clock ready to start at 8, or was in there at 1 o'clock every day?
No, you would, once the show was up and running, you would just come in, it's called a half-hour call, you come in about 35 minutes before the curtain up, and then that way the stage manager knows that everybody's in and you're ready to go. There's no problems. But it was cool because you'd come out the Hydro and that wee slip road, I could be back at my house in 8 minutes.
Aye.
And I'm sitting in front of the telly in a dressing gown with a glass of whiskey or something. I was like, less than 10 minutes after being on the stage. You know what I mean?
I know, I remember the time, I remember a time when I worked with DPD delivering the parcels up the West End. I remember delivering a parcel to you and I'll not remind of what you answered the door wearing that day, but...
What was it?
Oh,
That was it, that lube all over his chest?
Aye. It was
What
something
was the
like
back
cream
screaming,
on his chest.
Liquid testosterone.
Dressing guy, and it looked like spud at a...
Was that, has my parcel arrived, good man?
What's happened to this driver?
When did you decide to do the Hydro? Because was it after Still Game, what was the break before you done the Hydro?
It was 7 years, so we finished the show in 2007. I was living in America at the time, and I remember calling Ford up. I said, see that building down at the Clyde that they're building? He said, do you think we could fill that? And he was like, fuck, I don't know. And we hadn't really seen that much of each other, and we were doing other stuff in that time. But both of us felt that there were still stories to tell, and we'd never finished the show. And that was one of the things that we thought, let's bring it back, but let's bring it back as a stage show, and then we'll see what happens. So we did that. The Hydro was still getting built, and then they had the fire. Remember they had the fire at the Hydro when they were building it?
Yeah.
And it was delayed, and then we announced the show a year before the show was on. So we announced it in October 2013, and we were standing in the place, and the press are going, what are you going to do here? What the fuck? And we were like, yeah, we'll think of something.
So you said
hadn't planned the show at that point. We had a year to plan it. And we had all different ideas. We were going to do a game show. We were going to do a best of and take 3 episodes. And then we watched all the episodes and we're like, what are we talking about? Let's just write a new thing. Let's write a new story. So that's what we did.
Was it so hard? Was it? I know it is, but was it completely different from what you've done on the TV and then put it on a stage?
Totally. I mean, the Hydro's unusual because it's not a theatre in the traditional sense, because most people watch it on the TV screens. Yeah. If you're 10 or 15 rows back from the front, you tend to watch the screens, which means that you can be much more nuanced in your acting. Most theatre acting, you have to be quite broad. But at the Hydro, you're kind of doing it like a television performance because the cameras are picking you up. Yep. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's not that different, but the noise is different. You know what I mean? There's no feeling like it.
And was that you and Ford that came up with that script as well for the Hydro?
We wrote the Hydro scripts, yeah. But we would get the cast up 3 or 4 times. We'd get around the table, we'd have a drink and read the scripts, and then we would make cuts and changes and then go back and do it again and back and do it again. The difference with the Hydro is that you don't want any... You can't go 2 pages without a laugh. You can't even go half a page. So you want to make sure it's just kind of... But that was great fun. You know, Ford and I would love that. Because Ford was a stand-up to begin with. So we both knew what it felt like to be standing. You had to have the goods. You know what I mean? You had to have them.
Why didn't go wrong? Sorry, mate.
Why was there such a break? The 6-7 years you didn't.
Oh, we were burned out, man.
We were
fucking. We'd done Chewin The Fat for 4 years, and then we did Still Game for 6 years, and we were just like, it was a treadmill. You know, once you finished, you started the scripts for the next one, and you know, we were getting ratty with each other and stuff. And we were like, let's take a break. So we took a break and went and did other stuff. And then you get refreshed, and then you're ready to go again. You know, but 7 years, it went by like 7 minutes. It didn't feel like 7 years.
So did you see at that time? Did you think, wait, we will go back to Still Game?
No, actually, we didn't. We'd never entertained the prospect of bringing it back until we had that conversation, and it was weird because he was like, "Give me a minute," and then he called back, and went, "I'm in." And I was like, "That's fucking cool."
Can you always tell what he's thinking, Ford, if he's got that sort of relationship?
We finish each other's sentences a bit like Jack and Victor. You do that, you know what I mean? And he's got one of the fastest minds. You probably found out that day.
So
he's fucking super
lightning.
fast.
He's super fast. Fastest mind I've ever seen.
Do you just know each other from working with the BBC, or did you know yourselves before that?
We knew each other on the stand-up circuit. Right. So I think Ford and I was in a 3-man act and Ford was a solo act. We started around about the same time, and then he went into a double act with a guy called John Paul Leach, who's now a brain surgeon. And we would go to Bruce Morton's house and just hang out, and we just made each other laugh and had a good time. And then one time we went to Bruce's house and he opened the door a little bit. We've spoken about this before. He opened the door and was like, "You can't come in, I've got a girl here." And we were like, "Fuck's sake, we were supposed to be coming up tonight and watch Baywatch or some fucking thing." And he's like, "Go away." So we went to the pub and we just hit it off, and then we started writing together.
And did you ever think in all honesty that it would get to this stage that it's got to?
No, I mean, it's kind of it's weird. You don't plan for anything really, especially when you're young. You know,
it's just a total. So you went to the pub and just decided, why don't we do this? It was just like that.
Yeah.
And then just start bouncing off each other.
Yeah, we did. Somebody had said to us, the Shinty's coming on in the summer. BBC Scotland's covering the Shinty, and there's a half hour for comedy. So we're looking for submissions. So Ford and I, he had a little Walkman or a Discman, and we had 2 little microphones, and we did about 30 minutes of stuff and sent it in, and they gave us what then became Chewin The Fat. So we wrote sketches, we played music, and we did banter, us sitting, like what you guys do, you know what I mean? Just crack, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then we did that for 2 years, and then we got a commission to do it on the TV.
Last question, how much money have you actually made?
It's all in the whiskey, my friend. It's all in the gold watches.
Your New Year show is absolutely outrageous. It's amazing. I honestly do think so.
I thought you hate New Year shows.
That one's amazing, honestly. No, but Wilder, and I don't want to put this, but is there any wee chance that Still Game or in fact will ever make an appearance back on the TV?
It's not for me to say no, because you never say never. And if you'd asked me that in 2008, I would have said, no, it's done. And then it came back. So I don't know, probably not.
Probably not, but there's definitely an appetite for it within fans.
I think Hogmanay's calling.
Hogmanay, I think when I was growing up, Owning the Excuse was a big deal. With, like you said, Jonathan Watson and obviously the guys that did all that shit, and that was always a highlight every New Year.
Aye.
A special Still Game would be a...
But not at Hogmanay, because that's Queen of the New Year slot now, right, boys?
Queen of the New Year, something in between that.
Is it hard to get is it hard for other actors on Still Game Chewin The Fat to get other jobs? Are they like typecasting?
No, they're doing great. I think Mark and Jane were in some big Peter Capaldi thing on Amazon.
Right.
That's the other thing as well. When we started out, you didn't have all these streamers. Fucking, it was practical. People barely had mobile phones when we started, you know. There was no Facebook, there was no Twitter when we started. And then, you know, so all these streaming services now, there's loads of opportunities. There's loads of shows getting filmed in Scotland, and people come in from different countries to film things. They don't know fucking Still Game from Adam, you know what I mean? So Jane and Mark and everybody. Sanj was working with Armando Iannucci recently, and he did a thing called Avenue 5. So yeah, I mean, they're doing grand.
What do you like to watch?
What do I like to watch? What's the last thing I watched was Blackbird on Apple TV.
Brilliant.
Did you love it?
Aye.
How good was it?
Very good.
Oh my God. It was really good. I watched Game of Thrones. I watched the new one.
Blackbird, the killer guy was a good actor.
He was really. He's a stand-up.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, that high
He was
voice
just how he was able just to keep that same kind of level of tone throughout the whole programme. You seen Blackbird?
No,
Oh, you should.
Mate, watch it. 8 episodes. Is it 8 episodes?
6 episodes. But it doesn't. Once you watch the 6, that's it.
True story.
It's done.
Based on a true story.
Based on a true story. White Lotus is good.
Brilliant.
White
mate,
Lotus.
Just finished it last night.
How good is it?
7 out of 7, brilliant.
Are you on series 2 now?
Just finished it last night.
Oh,
With a wee
I've
glass
just
of red
started
wine.
series 2.
I have only started episode 1.
Wait to tell me ending.
Tell him the ending. Fucking rat.
What about comedies? What comedies do you like?
I love Seinfeld. I love the Larry Sanders Show. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Brilliant.
Love that. I like American comedy. British comedy I love too. I love The Office. Thought it was terrific.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. I don't know. I mean, there's so many fucking things to watch now, isn't there? There's so many options. But
You like that, mate?
Benny watches that. The boy watches
Benny
it.
came to the Hydro. He saw you boys at the Hydro.
Oh,
eh?
did he?
Yeah, he
There's
was
so
there.
much to
Good
watch
on
on
him.
TV.
Why did you not come on?
I think you were fucking going to have me on, and then you got Sanj on.
You're wanting too much.
You're wanting too much money.
You're wanting too much.
By the way, I didn't want too much money. You made one offer, and I was like, I think we can go a wee bit higher. And fuck him, get Sanj in.
You got it for 50 quid.
I turned on I was like, oh, Sanj has got himself a gig. That's great.
What advice would you give young actors coming through now?
Hold out for more money if you fucking open door come.
You want to be an actor, don't you?
I'd love to be an actor.
Panto.
No, I think I'm too good for Panto. Panto's almost, this could be...
You fucking haven't even started. You're too good for
His
Panto
wife does
already.
Panto. Oh, you've had a shot.
Panto is brilliant.
No, listen.
I love Panto, because I know your wife's amazing. I just said that to have a laugh.
I've got to be honest with you.
Get another dram in that.
Listen,
I need that dram.
I'm going to finish yours, but I'll tell you this: you would love doing Panto.
I love it.
You would absolutely love it. Grado does it. You know, Jester as well. Jester was a wrestler, and now he's an actor. He works in the Scots with Robert Florence. He's a fantastic actor. Wrestlers make fantastic actors, by the way, because they're sportsmen who can act. So if you want to get into acting, watch wrestling. Seriously, those guys are fucking artists, man.
Yeah.
Me and my dad do it. The wrestling.
Naked wrestling in the house.
We do that a lot, but I don't know if that's...
Who was the boy that did the wrestling with Grado?
Jason Cummins.
World Cup
Oh my
star.
God, aye.
It's in the World Cup, man.
Plays for us-
He was
plays
in the
for
Hydro, actually,
Australia.
ended up the World Cup.
He came to the Hydro and
brilliant.
we had him dressed as the Joker, and the next day he went to Dundee and got sacked. A year down the line he ended up at Australia in the World Cup.
That's how he ended up getting a move to Australia, because he done the Hydro with us. Wow. And he got Dundee let him go because of that. He never told them he was going to do the Hydro.
Oh, really?
They were training the next day, he came on the Hydro, had a few drinks.
Oh, and he lost his job.
But then he ended up getting a move to Australia from it.
Sliding doors.
Exactly.
That's
When every
amazing.
door closes, another one opens.
What, have you ever had a sliding doors moment?
Well, yeah, actually, because I think when I came to from Canada in 1986, I was 16 years old, and my dad, I had a teacher, and she said, "Look, we can get him billeted with a family if you want to let him stay here and finish his high school." And my mum and dad were like thinking about it, and my older brother was staying. He was starting university in Ontario, and I kind of wanted to stay because I felt Canadian, and I was like, "Mum, this is all my friends are here and all that." And it fell through, and I came home. So that was a sliding door moment. Right. If I'd been 6 months older, or even 2 months older, or that decision had gone a different way, my whole family disappears.
So did you come back to
the future? You know what I mean?
Scotland yourself on your own?
No, I came to Scotland myself. My parents moved to London. I went to a school there and did A levels for 2 years, and then applied for university. Came up to Glasgow because I got in at Glasgow Uni.
That's right.
And I was desperate to go to Glasgow Uni because I was like, my granny who lives down the road.
You were the rector there as well, eh?
I was. That was great fun.
Well, yeah.
I know, I
was
3
rector.
years.
I bought a scooter because you got a scooter. Bought a scooter. I used to go up there every day and fucking fix all the students' problems and stuff. Great fun.
Aye.
And sorry, last thing, your wife's an actress as well.
She is.
She's on Ballamore, isn't she?
She's on Ballamore. Yeah, she plays Miss
How did
Hooley.
you meet?
We met on a sketch show. It was a thing called Retorting Scotland or something, and Jules was on that, and we just hit it off. ended up together.
Superb.
Aye. Sliding doors right enough though.
Yeah.
Sliding doors. Aye. What's sorry, I keep you because you've been outstanding.
No, you're grand.
I loved the Joaquin Phoenix performance in Joker. I thought it was outrageous.
Brilliant.
When you were growing up, who was your favourite, your inspiration to be an actor?
Well, my son's called Chevy, and we named him after Chevy Chase.
Wow, you love him.
I love Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase in Vacation. So the great
Amazing.
comedy actors like him. John Candy is a god because he's Canadian and
Yeah.
fucking hysterical. I love him. Growing up, I guess I used to watch people like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and all those
I think
guys.
Al Pacino's better than Robert De
Do
Niro.
your Robert De Niro
Meryl
impression.
Streep.
He's got a great Robert De Niro.
You say that.
He's got a great Robert De Niro impression. Go do
I
it.
don't actually. I think Al Pacino's in a different league for Robert De Niro.
Do you
Mate,
really?
You're talking shit.
And I'll tell you why. And this is
No, it's load of rubbish.
No, can
That's
I-
one of the worst things you've ever
This is
Well,
like
can I give
this
my-
is Coke and Pepsi though. They're both dynamite.
no. Can I give my opinion on it? Do you know why? I think Al Pacino's played.
You just shout all the time,
No,
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino plays so many different characters, right?
Like what?
No, like so he's played two gangsters. So just say like Scarface and what's it? The Godfather, right?
Godfather,
But he's two gangsters in it, and he's completely two different gangsters in it. One's like chuppy and one's more serious. Whereas I think Robert De Niro's it's that same expression all the time. Like, that might be brutal and terrible. I'm saying that, but that's why I think Al Pacino edges it.
But to be fair to Robert De Niro, if you look at Robert De Niro in Goodfellas and then in something like Bad Grandpa,
You're spot on. Totally different.
he's completely different in Bad Grandpa.
Exact same, innit?
Is that us, boys? You're a massive fan. Have you got anything else to ask?
I could genuinely sit here all day.
I'll come back. It's been good fun. I'll bring some more whiskey.
Oh, it's been
Do it again.
absolutely
Come on,
brilliant.
Could we get a night in your house with Benny in it?
You get a night in my house? Absolutely. Come
Come
up.
here, the bells. Bring the bells in.
What,
Do you know
Tuesday programme?
my wife, when she was doing Balamory, she got friendly with the Wiggles. Do you remember? Have you heard of the Wiggles?
aye.
Massive touring itinerant.
Yeah.
They tour all over the world. They fucking dynamite. They came to Glasgow and they messaged Jules and were like, do you mind if we come up your house and get maggoted? That's what they say for getting drunk. Maggoted. Jules was like, yeah, come on up,
I know
right?
maggot.
And they came to the house, right? They went, get the instruments out the car. Fucking ukuleles and what do you call it, accordions and everything. And they stayed till like 4 a.m. And I was like, we gotta get these guys out of our house. But they were fucking dynamite. But we're like, they're not gonna leave. And we just
That'll be
partied with them
us.
till about 4 a.m.
That'll be us. Birds
I'll
come
be
up to
him.
your
So
room and
you-
get maggoted.
So you
don't they?
gotta stay you gotta stay till after 4 a.m. Anthony Wiggle, man. You gotta top 4 a.m.
4 a.m. You'll be there at 4. Because you're not far for each other. You're West End. You're
No, I'll scoot
sorry,
up.
where are you?
I'll scoot up.
You scoot up.
Finishing. But part circus finishing. I would call it part circus with my address, but people say finishing. But
Some say Anderson as well.
some say Anderson. I would say that's completely lies. Just before you go, and this is the last one. If you've only got one last meal ever, what do you go for? Dinner, starter.
Oh, that's a good one.
Starter, main, and dessert.
Okay. Easy.
There must be something Scottish. It has to be.
No.
It's buffalo wings to start.
Oh, beautiful.
What's
blue cheese sauce?
with the Frank
No.
sauce on it?
With a Frank sauce.
Frank
But
sauce
blue
is a
cheese
joke.
dip. Blue cheese dip.
Blue cheese dip.
Blue cheese.
The celery sticks.
Yes.
Bing, bing, bing. And then the main course is a hot dog. What? A fucking hot dog, man. Fully loaded.
What, fully loaded fried onions?
No.
No?
Raw onions.
Right.
Raw onions, sliced
How's that
chilies, relish, ketchup, mustard, fucking...
Right, Greg, you're liking Frank's hot sauce buffalo wings.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere in Glasgow you've been that do good Frank? Because I can't find any.
I do them myself in my air fryer.
Aye, are they decent?
They're restaurant quality, my big man. Restaurant quality.
Oh, we can have that at his party when we go.
Frank's
then-
hot sauce.
I want to ask, because remember was it Partick Thistle fans that were in your in tune that they were the best, mate?
Yeah.
Harry Rags.
They go on the Harry Rag. They've
The
got
Harry
the
Rags,
chicken that,
so
wouldn't
those
they?
Who came up with
characters,
that?
the Banter Boys was written by Rab Christie, who was the guy that I was in the act with, another guy called Neil Warhurst. And Rab now went on to become a producer. He got into producing, he runs the comedy unit in Mary Hill. So Rab wrote, he's a lifelong Thistle fan, and he wrote those characters. And he used to tell me stories about touring and going to see, being in the away support and going down to the Queen of the South and stuff like that, and being like fucking 30 Thistle fans and stuff. He goes, Greg, do you know what the difference is when you go to see Thistle or you go and see Celtic? He says, see when you shout at the players, he says, they can hear you. He says, a boy shouted at our goalie one time, get a fucking haircut, goalie! And the goalie went, I got one on Thursday! And the guy was like, oh, fucking talk back to me.
Oh,
They two
imagine.
are brilliant.
That's been my favourite show.
Oh, that's
It's
good.
been
Oh,
amazing.
Is that in Berlin Ford?
Listen, Ford's a hero, I know, but
Listen,
it's
Ford's a pussycat, have him back
No,
on.
he's a
but
great guy, I
Don't
love
talk
him.
about football.
of
Remember
course.
the polar bear on the beaches, it's fucking a waste of time.
Yeah.
No, this is
Check your
really
watches
good.
for no chance.
Send it to him.
Will he watch this? I don't know.
I got a message from him if he is watching.
No, he's a great guy, isn't he? Great guy.
Do you want to say sorry to him or get him to
No,
say sorry to you?
sorry to me.
Greg Hemphill,
I'm going to have to watch it now.
No,
Aye,
brilliant.
Greg Hemphill,
Hemphill,
what a hero,
what a
legend.
guy.